Uh, so we're going to take up pretty much where we left off last time, except we do get that voiceover of one of you saying previously on Star Trek Kintsugi. And we get that shot of the Starbase 17, of the crew getting sent back and forth as they're changing out the crew. Then we get the big scene of our three protagonists in the transporter room when these prisoners get beamed in with the security people, and then Captain Haskell get beamed in, and we see the reaction shot of Latal like not being pleased by it, and Ward like the blood perhaps draining from her face a little bit, but then cut to the briefing where he's explaining that this whole prisoner transport thing is cover for an exchange. We're going to be trading this Romulan spy for some Federation prisoners. That's the main purpose of this mission. We see Haskell saying to Ward, you're going to be acting as my number one as first officer. We see our security uh, person, Vate, talking with the strange psychopathic woman. We see them stopping the Andorian from killing the Klingon prisoner. We see the conversation that happens with the Lieutenant Tatasa that was brought by Haskell and her kind of uncertainty about things. We see a figure in shadow checking the logs and seeing some research that's being done by Lieutenant Vate. And then we get to that scene at the end with the death of the ensign and the detection of the Romulan bioscans. And from there we go, and then it goes, of course, and now the conclusion. And we come in, we can see the Kintsugi in the system, traveling on impulse towards our prison planet there. And I'm going to get all my names back together here real quick. Fentarson is the name of the planet. And I think we see, like, we're probably in Med Bay with the doctor examining the body. Who is there of our PCs when this is going on? Is it Latal? Is it Vate? Is it both of you? Is it Ward trying to avoid being on bridge?
I think
Yeah.
I'd certainly like to be there because we don't have either a player character or an NPC minor character science officer. So I think my curiosity is piqued.
And the died in engineering. So in theory, one of your
Latal was called down initially, right?
One of my
you better
people.
see this.
So the doctor will turn to you. What species is the doctor?
Bolian.
Bolian. Okay.
I bid Bolian.
So get a Bolian doctor. This may not be the actual doctor, but it's at least the medical officer we have shot here. And they turn and they will say, I can confirm that this ensign, we've been able to identify them as Ensign Rainmundi. And they seem to have been killed when they opened the panel and were struck by high energy plasma. It looks like they were killed on site there. And as I said, when I first did the bioscans, everything I'm seeing here tells me that this, in fact, was a Romulan biosculpted to look human.
Just let me understand this. Vate is there. Yeah. Did we or did we not understand that prisoner 729 was a Romulan biosculpted to look like a Vulcan.
That's what the
And
captain
biosculpted well enough to have been embedded within the Federation.
Well, there's not just one of them, Lital.
Well, with respect, that's my point. So how are you going to find the rest of them?
A good question, but and he sort of traces down the body, across, like traces his hand down the gurney where the body's sort of like, probably covered in a sheet, right, with all the readouts kind of around it. He says, but luckily, it looks like the Romulans make mistakes.
Well, yeah, in as much as breaching a plasma conduit, but if that plasma conduit had not been breached, I mean, for all I know, this ship is teeming with Romulan spies.
I know, Lital.
Well, my question is,
I could be one.
security, what are you going to do about it?
Leave it with me, Lital. Maybe what would help, though, would be to know whether or not this plasma conduit that Raymundi breached, was that part of his normal duties and it was a horrible mistake, a spy undertaking his cover? Or was this a horrible mistake by a spy attempting to sabotage the ship?
I wondered when you get to that.
Well, I wondered when
At which point I leave.
yeah. He just goes out. Yeah, I like that.
Ward, are you there in that scene?
I don't think so. I think we have, well, maybe not bigger fish to fry, but other things to worry about on the bridge. Right?
Yeah, I'm going to speak to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, have you spoken to the captain about this?
I've sent him the details, but as we're approaching our mission planet, he said for me to handle it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to handle it now. Okay. So don't tell anybody other than the captain, Ward. That's it about this. Because if there are more Romulans on board, we want to make sure that they don't know that we know for as long as possible.
Understood, sir.
I wonder if I think like, and then I think I'm gonna. I was thinking, should I shortcut to the Star Trek solution of come up with a way of scanning for Romulan DNA across the ship, right? Like, but I feel like that's a Lital solution to come up with rather than a NPC doctor. So I will instead walk out of the med bay, and as I leave, I will hit my comm badge, and I will say, Lieutenant Vate, Ensign Fargo.
Lieutenant.
Fargo, you're our comm specialist, right?
One of my many skills, indeed.
Okay, I need you to meet me by the comm station in 0500 minutes. I'll be on my way.
500 minutes.
Whatever. I was trying to think of a Star Wars Trekkie way of saying it, but I failed entirely. I was like, wait, do they actually still use minutes and hours in Star Trek? I can't remember.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, they do. Yeah.
I'll take that as a comms error, and I'll see you in 5 minutes, Lieutenant.
5 minutes. Yeah.
Let me check in with Ward. Then let me come check in with Lital, and then I'll bring the Farga Vate scene together here. So Ensign Ward, with this, you've gotten word about this. The captain is looking over things, and he will say, "What is the scene you want to call? I do have some stuff, but where do you want to find yourself here?"
I think, if I recall correctly, you said we had about 6 hours before we kind of enter the approach.
Yes.
Okay.
At that point, you should be in range to do the comms and get the flight path down to get to the planet.
Okay. So yeah, maybe given that we have both kind of heard how much more than a simple engineering accident this seems to be, I'll check with Haskell to see if he thinks, does he need me on the bridge, or should I go down and I say supervise seriously, but obviously, no one down there needs my supervision.
Says check on all of the prisoners, make sure that they are where they're supposed to be. Just confirm that, and make sure that nothing has changed in that situation.
Yes, sir. Call me if anything changes with our approach vector.
Says I will be calling together senior staff in an hour or so to talk about a game plan for when we get on planet. So what do you do,
Right,
Dunna?
Yeah, I'm gonna. I guess I'm gonna head down to the holding cells, but calm Vase on the way to let him know I'm swinging by, and basically ask him if he needs me anywhere specific.
You're checking out the prisoners. Good idea. Listen, Kashmir, report back to me later. I need to check something out first, but there's something going on the ship.
Obviously, you'll let me know when your suspicions are pointing in any one direction, right?
Yeah, I'll let you know when I know that you're safe to talk to, Ward. I mean, for one.
Well, that makes me feel less safe.
So do you check on the holding cells, the actual brig first, or do you check on the Orions first?
Yeah, I think I'll check on the Orions first, and maybe, also checking in on Lieutenant Tatasa because, her role in this is still a little bit uncertain.
So I think when you go down there, Lieutenant Tatasa is there with one member of the security team. They're outside the rooms. She'll stand to attention when you arrive and say, number one.
Lieutenant, how are things going down here?
Nothing has changed with our two prisoners. One of them is pacing, as she has pretty much the whole time, while the older one has settled in.
Okay, you don't get any sense that they are planning anything, but
She kind of stops and she says, I'd mentioned this to the captain before, but there's something about their behavior that seems off.
okay. Off how?
I mean, the fact that we captured Orion pirates in the first place is something. Usually they blow themselves up. But it's just the reaction of the older Orion. I mean, he is very old. Of sort of strange resignation. I don't know what to make of him. Normally, even older pirates would be like the woman would be pacing and angry and storming.
That's how you'd be in this situation, right?
Well, I'm not a pirate, so I can't speak to that.
Fair enough. What terrible conclusion would you draw from the resigned behavior of the older one?
He thinks he's going to die.
Marvelous. Marvelous. Maybe we can talk to him. Do you think he'll talk to us?
I should have. As she goes, she's like going to say, "I should inform the captain," but she goes, "We can try."
Well, let's do that.
And whoosh, open, and you will see this wrinkled, aged Orion there. He's seated on the bunk, and again, you've cleared everything out. All the panels are locked down in here. It is Spartan to make sure that he doesn't have anything to work from, but he will look up when you come in and like furrows his brow because he saw you like the person running the transporter before, but now you've got some extra pips on your collar, and he clearly notes that that's strange, and he will look up, and he says something that the universal translator beeps out in Orion, and she says, "I will not rise to your bait."
Bait?
He's disparaging my line with the commentary there.
Because, you gave up the freewheeling piratical lifestyle to which your people have become accustomed.
I was captured by Federation. They were faster than I was.
Well, that is cheery. Everything is cheery. I'm immensely cheered by this whole situation. So, you'll talk to Merc?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what is it you want to like? What is your strategy here? Like, I think we're actually going to go to a roll first
Yeah, sure.
for your diplomatic kind of interaction here.
Yeah, I mean, I am trying to kind of get to the bottom of why he knows he's going to die, right? What is he privy to that means he's just given up? So, I mean, maybe like ask him some leading questions that maybe cut against his pride or his kind of freewheeling spirit, and so on.
So insight, and what do you think for the discipline?
I mean, it's interrogation, I guess.
Security or command?
So, yeah, I mean, I guess I think security because I'm trying to find answers. I'm not trying to motivate him to do something.
So that's 12/2 because you've got investigation as a thing. I think that is kind of the tact you are on here.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So insight, security. That is nothing. A 13 and a 19.
15 and a 19. So he is shut down. You talk to him for a bit, you kind of push on him, work on it, but it doesn't seem to get you anywhere. It's one of those sort of frustrating things. He's not playing like he's cleverer than you. It's more that he's being quiet. I will give you one thing when you kind of step out after this exchange that feels frustrating. Tatasa will say, I'm glad you worked on him. I know it seems like you didn't get anything from him, but he did slip there once.
What did he do?
He referred to the other pirate a couple of times, and once he used an alternate form of address for her. I think that's his daughter.
Okay.
I don't know if that provides us some leverage.
I mean, well, is that leverage or is that, sorry, when you say leverage, you mean like we could obviously not threaten her, but could we, you know, promise her safety?
Because I don't know what the dynamic is between the two of them, but that's something we have at least that we didn't have before.
Okay. Thanks, Lieutenant.
I'm going to cut from that to Latal with various pieces of equipment, and we see this panel. It's kind of in an isolated area of the ship, like past one of the Jeffries corridors, and there's you and another one of the new engineering staff, and they are saying, I saw from the report from the previous staff that this conduit was scheduled for one of the updates, but that isn't on the work schedule for a couple of weeks. There had been some power fluctuations here, but it had been on a lower priority.
Well, that's very interesting. But was it an accident or did somebody cause it?
The ensign would go, I'm uncertain, sir.
So you have nothing to tell me, in other words?
Sir, I just wanted to
Or in
inform you
no
about...
words, get out of the way.
He'll push him along. And yeah, what do you want to do here?
I think I want to work out whether this is accidental wear and tear, or whether either it had been tampered with, or the tampering by the dead Romulan was the problem. And I'm not messing about here. I think I'm acting swiftly. So this is daring, I think.
Okay. Daring plus engineering.
I think so, which will come. I don't think there are any relevant focuses. Oh, power systems.
Power systems? You have power systems as a focus.
Power systems would work. So I think that's a 13-4.
13-4.
Whoops, Daisy. And let's roll in bones. That's one success. 19 and 10.
One success. Now you do have a point of determination.
And just to be clear, I spend that determination against one of my values.
Yes.
Fine.
And Technology... then you get a complete reroll if you want. So it may not be worth it because it is only one die you're re-rolling.
Yeah. I don't think it is.
Okay.
At this point.
So you want to know, was this an accident or not?
Indeed.
This was not an accident. And okay. I think that you will find materials in there that suggest that a device of some kind was put here and exploded. Now, whether somebody else put this here or whether the Romulan was installing this is a different question. And you don't have the pieces for that right now.
Is there enough of the body left to be able to tie it to explosives? Other than,
it's not an explosive device. It's like an energy thing. Essentially, it's intended to take the plasma conduit energy and overload it.
Okay. Letal debate. Letal debate.
Yes, mate.
Your Vate.
Sorry, Latal. Sorry, I got a dog right here. I'm confused. I'm distracted for a second.
It's just like Enterprise.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, uh, this conduit had been tampered with. What I cannot tell you at this point is whether our friend the Romulan spy was killed by accident or while installing it. But this is a deliberate act of sabotage.
What would it have done, Latal?
I would have overloaded the plasma conduit and conceivably done even more damage than it did.
Possibly taking out the shields in the brig.
Well, I can't be certain of that, but certainly a power outage at the wrong time in the wrong place would have been a bad thing.
I'm not used to you not being certain, Latal. It worries me.
Well, I thought you might want to know that there was a saboteur aboard, either previously or they're dead. Either way, I thought that was important to security. And now I'll go back to think about the bigger questions. Latal out, click.
I think in the turbo lift, while another, like a lower deck member of crew just looks at like over it, and I'm just like, it's so easy.
They pull their pad up close defensively. I think at that point, Ensign Farga, like when we see you move through the hallways, we haven't really gotten a sense of how you're picturing this character's personality or experience. Are they businesslike? Are they more relaxed? Are they friendly? Are they hesitant? Are they confident? What do you think we see, Paul?
I think they're the sort of opposite of the cybernetic look. I think they're quite whimsy, quite joyous, that sort of goes against their physical image.
So we see you greeting a few crew members as you're heading down there. One of them says, "I'll see you in the graveyard later," right?
Of course.
Okay. What does Farga think of Vate?
I think Farga thinks Vate is quite dishy.
Nice. Can play the Riker role for today.
Except there'll be one season where we have to shoot you standing behind things because you put on weight. So,
oh yeah.
If only he had the Shatner corset, that solves all problems.
Where does Ensign Farga meet you?
Well, in Star Trek, they have all the stations, right? But it seems as though you can access pretty much station, like key systems from any station on the ship as long as it's like plot narrative compatible. So I'm like, probably wouldn't meet in the corner of the bridge to go over the comm station, right? I think maybe in like the room that actually houses the comms equipment, maybe, like the direct sort of panels and stuff with a few members of engineering perhaps around who I asked to leave the room.
It's the place with the subspace relays and those that's kind of equipment.
Yeah. And I'll be waiting for Varga if she comes in, and I'll Varga, hi, and I'll push a chair, a chair on Star Trek wheels out across the room. I need your help.
Lieutenant, and I'll sort of grab the chair, spin it around, and sit down in quite a casual kind of way.
In a Riker style. Yeah. The cool head teacher style. Yeah. Varga, I need to know if anyone's sending signals off this ship or receiving signals on this ship that they shouldn't be. that aren't.
Ooh, spicy.
Well, you're partway there.
Mm.
Now, I need you to keep this secret, Varga. There's
I can do you a favour. Of course I can.
I tap the pips and I say, well, it's a funny way of asking for it, of saying such a thing, but sure. And I wink, yeah, I'll owe you one.
Excellent. So, comms going on and off the ship.
Any sort of signal, any kind of, make sure you check the Romulan frequencies.
Okay. Not a problem at all. So you think this has got something to do with the death?
It's definitely, well, what I'm looking for is definitely to do with the death, Fargo. I'm afraid that I don't think any of us knew Ensign Ramundi as well as we should have done.
True. True, yeah. Ramundi. Yeah, I did have a quick sneak of the report when it was passed to the captain. Definitely odd indeed. Not a problem. Yeah, I'll look into that. Not a problem at all, Lieutenant. Yeah, I'll widen the search. Maybe Romulans. Maybe look for some Orion. Could be related to any of them.
What I'm thinking is I'm getting you to see if there are any signals, you know, any communications, any sort of things, whatever. And if we get a dramatic, we find that out, then obviously you are read into the Romulan spies, like at the dramatic in between sessions, you know, as the music stings and we look at each other and go, "Oh my God!" on the ship, calls coming from inside this room, kind of thing.
Yeah. Not a problem. I'm on it.
Does that feel like insight or control? Probably plus science, I think.
I think control. We're dealing with control systems. A lot of sifting of. I don't know. It could be insight. Yeah, let's go insight. Actually,
so insight.
Yeah.
Insight and science. So it's a 13, but you also have comms as a focus. So it's 13/4.
I'm going to press the roll test button. Clearly, has anything come up anywhere?
Yes. We got the second thing there is an 18/2, so that's 2 successes. So let me tell you a piece of information based on that first success, and then you can decide if you want to do a follow-up question. It doesn't seem like there's any anomalous signals outside of the usual communication bands that are happening outside of the ship. However, because you're kind of checking on Ramundi and so on, you will find logged maybe a couple of hours ago a blip transmission from a like standard terminal made to Ramundi's pad, like on board ship. It's one of those things that only because you're looking for it, you would notice it, and you realize that it's a probably compressed, encoded blip sent to him specifically.
Okay.
What's your follow-up question?
Is it possible to extrapolate the IP8 address of where that signal came from and then play back ship security footage of the terminal that sent it?
Yes, you can tell which terminal it is. Unfortunately, this was happening during a 30-minute window when Lieutenant Tatasa was running a full internal sensor recalibration and diagnostic.
Damn Tatasa. I'll fully inform Vate and say internal message sent to Ramundi. We know where it came from, but all internal logs for that time. They haven't been scrubbed, but they were never running because of an internal test. Some recalibration done by Tatasa. Odd.
Well, Fargo, I'm going to need your help. We're going to find out who sent that code, because there are Romulans on board the Kintsugi, and they look like us. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. And, you know, they, you know, if this was the book version, is an empath, and so is happy to have read shock coming off Ensign Fargo. Right?
Luckily, all my parts can be traced back to Star Trek, Starfleet.
Yeah.
So, I am not Romulan.
Yeah, I think in one of the cutscenes it would probably be like, yeah, I knew I could trust you because the Romulans can't replicate this level of cybernetic augmentation without interfering with their biosculpting processes.
The Romulans are also highly adverse to cybernetic prosthetics. It is a base value that they do not use that kind of thing. Astrid, let's come back to you.
Yeah, I guess maybe before as I check on the 3 who are secured in their holding cells, strangely enough, those are the ones I'm less worried about on average. Yeah, I'll share our kind of half-baked insight with Vate in terms of, some kind of psychological assessment of his prisoners.
Hey, let's meet in the turbo lift.
Yeah.
As we're going up, we just happen to step into the same turbo lift. And I will, that's where the point where I will say, there are Romulans. The Ensign
Raymundi?
Ensign Raymundi was a Romulan. And then I take a step back, hand on my phaser, look at you. And I go nod, and I go, you seem suitably surprised from that. Fargo's helping me out. We've identified a blip from a terminal. There's at least one more agent on board. Latal's identified that this was an explosive device. Now, unless there's 2 sets of spies on this ship playing some kind of war with each other, I think it's safe to say that there's more. That they just fumbled their sabotage. But there's still more out there, and we still don't know what they want. The captain knows, Latal knows, the doctor knows, and you 2 know. And that's it.
And we as yet have no way to identify them without a close scan.
So Romulan biosculpting is very sophisticated. I think it's only possible to. I mean, I don't know. I'm making this up as I go.
Obviously, yeah, you would need a full, like a blood sample medical analysis, like a deep tissue scan.
It doesn't show up in the transporter logs.
Transport logs or standard standard medical scans.
Sorry, I mean the transporter scans, the imprint.
No, it's made to essentially create that kind of illusion for the most common kinds of things. But a metascan, like a blood sample or cellular scan in medbay, that can definitely detect it.
That would be something that's time consuming enough and intensive enough that we can't just walk around the ship testing everybody or it's stuff on record, right?
True. True. Now, mind you, you could try and given your transporter logs, you could try and do some modification with that tinkering wise. That's one of those like hypothesis. Try to come up with a crazy plan to boost something there.
I mean, the world of Star Trek is one where the technological solution that would be obvious, right? Like checking the CCTV footage or using your mobile.
Never be used.
It's never used. But if you come up with some technobabble to say like, but if I do this and that, then it's usable, right? Like, so yeah.
So Donna, what do you want to do? Do you want to go and try and analyze the transporter logs for that, or do you want to check on the other prisoners, or what?
Um, I I think I need to check a box and check on the prisoners, but maybe I will um, communicate my hunch about the transporter, about extemporizing something for the transporter logs to Commander Letal, and say I'll drop down after I finish my sweep. So, um,
So Astrid, you go to check per captain's instructions on the brig and the 3 security cells, and you'll come in and you will see that the 3 are in the cells, and Ensign Tavilik is there, but like you're surprised because he doesn't seem to notice you at first.
I guess I'll obviously something's going on, but I will act as if it's just a normal kind of phasing out, and I'll clear my throat to attract his attention.
But Ensign Ward, when did you come in?
If I said 5 minutes ago, would you be shocked?
Sorry, it's I just I've been on double shifts here.
You in security, in addition to your science.
So Lieutenant Vate asked for volunteers to do additional watches over the prisoners.
Well, bad watch is worse than no watch at all, is it? I think.
Yeah. Sorry, sir.
How about you call up who's next on the roster and get yourself some shut-eye?
And you can see that Tavilik is maybe going to talk back to you because he's an Andorian, and you're an ensign like you. But then he looks and you see him look at the pips there, and he goes, as you say, and he will go over to the pad and call up the next person in the duty roster. He says, I'll wait outside until they arrive.
Before you do anything to report?
No. Klingon keeps glaring. That woman is still meditating, and the Romulan seems to be just waiting.
Well, that seems normal. Okay, thanks, Develik. I'm serious. Like, get some rest before things get serious.
You seem anxious, says the woman.
Why would you think I'm anxious?
Is it the pressure of a new command?
Nope. Just the things we have to cart around every so often. They disgust me.
Ooh. Wicked. You should send that lovely Lieutenant Vate back down. Love to have another chat with him.
Who's worming their way into whose mind more by this stage?
It's only one way to find out.
Okay, well, stay comfortable. You won't be here for too much longer.
And she goes, no, I won't. Commander Latal, you've gotten this call from Ward about the transporter logs, but you've also got your other engineering stuff. What do you want to be doing? Like, what is the scene we want to see with you there?
I think it's another. I think I'd like a scene with Ensign Farga because I've because I've committed everyone's record to memory, I know that Farga, though, is on a rotation in communications and has previously served as a science officer. And I think I need a little bit of science officer input here. So if Paul's up for it, I'd like a scene with Fargo where we discuss how we can best realign the primary shift modulator on the transporters.
I'm more than happy to have that scene. Just before that, though, I'm riding the turbo lift with Lieutenant Vate. I'm going to pause the turbo lift and say, permission to speak, Lieutenant.
Permission granted, Ensign.
I'm very concerned about the 30-minute gap caused by Tatasa, which therefore makes me even more suspicious about all the people we've brought on board. If we can get blood samples of some of these people, we can narrow down whether they are or are not.
Raymundi was on the ship before Pascal and his crew and his team.
He actually came in up with the crew that arrived from the starbase, the rotation in crew.
Yeah, the rotation in crew.
Is there any way you can get to Tarsa, maybe a fight in the holodeck, bit of training, draw some blood, or other nefarious means?
Leave
You're a
it with
good-looking lad. She's an Orion woman.
And he winks at Farga and says, "You're not so bad yourself." And says, "That's a great idea, Farga. Leave it with me."
Okay. Is it worth me trying something with the captain? A paper cut? Do we have paper?
I think it's probably best not to cause your commanding officer, the commanding officer of the ship, to bleed, Farga. That might be, I think, one of the Starfleet
regulations. Is he human, though? Well, could he be a Romulan?
Anyone could be a Romulan. Anyone.
Exactly.
But
that's
you,
a top position. We need to. I can't be.
You can't be anyone but you. Anyone but me. Unless Romulans have developed empathic abilities and mastered an alien blade.
Very well. You deal with.
I don't think any Romulan could be such an asshole.
Yeah.
True. You deal with Tatasa. I'm going to go down to engineering and see Commander Latal.
Yeah, I think I'll say go check with Latal whether or not he can help you get any more out of that out of the comms terminal, and then you guys can and think about whatever Ward's idea with the teleporter matrix is. Maybe there's something there.
So Latal and Sinfarga will arrive. They're in engineering.
Lieutenant Commander?
Just the person, Farga. I know Vate has briefed you, so I need just let me run this by you. Right? Apply those scientific neurons in there to this.
You mean my half computer mind?
Whatever it is, I'm interested in what it has to think, what it thinks. I think that if we could, in some way, pull all the transporter logs and then realign the primary shift modulator on the transporter, then re-import the logs so that the realignment picks up anything different from any records we have on the personnel involved. So we can at least try to work out whether they are the same people that Starfleet thought they were 6 months ago.
Compare previous logs, include variations based on age and other things picked up in that period of time, compare it to the new scans, and therefore we should have a positive or a negative result.
Exactly. And that at least narrows down the list of potential suspects.
You know what? It may just work.
Yeah, there is only one problem with this that I can see, is that I would have to dismantle the existing modulator, which would take the transport system offline until I could rebuild it.
I don't see that being a problem. We have other methods of transport.
So
and you know what the previous captain used to say? He never liked the transporters anyway.
So I think this is a difficulty. I think that I've established as a difficult task. So let's say a 3, but let's say you're proposing that the transporters are going to be offline for a while. So we'll take the difficulty down to a 2.
And I'm wondering if this applies to rocks into replicators. Once per session, you may destroy any single piece of equipment to create any other piece of equipment of an equal or lower opportunity cost.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So you can get something that can do this kind of scan with a high complication level that can do this that you want.
So the new piece of equipment has a complication range increase of 2,
yeah,
with the complication being a malfunction that renders it useless.
Well, so which way do you want to do? Do you want to do it that way, which will be a difficulty 3, but we're going to do that? Or do you want to do it difficulty 2 and we take the transporters offline for a bit?
Okay, let's take the transporters offline for a bit.
Okay. So you two should do this together. Ensign Fargo, you're going to roll 1d20. What do you want to roll with?
I think control and science.
Okay. So that'll be a 13. Or no, wait, actually, let me see here.
14.
Yep, 14.
So I'm going to press control, I'm going to press science, and then roll test.
So we'll take the first of the 2 dice. So that's a 13. So
13,
one success.
Yep.
So you've got 1 success already. Commander Lital?
I think this is reason and engineering.
Okay. And you have transporter tech.
I do have transporter technology, transporter operations as a focus.
Yeah. 14/4.
And I cannot bring myself not to follow Starfleet protocols. So I leave a message in number 1's log that transporters are likely to be offline for a period of time for maintenance.
Nice.
Wait a minute. Has Latal just lied? Is this a first?
The transporters will be more useful after this period of maintenance than they currently are in the current circumstances. So I will roll with 2 dice, I think.
Yes.
How many successes? We're wanting 2 successes. We got 1 in the pot.
Yeah. 14/4. There's almost no chance you could fail.
No, so hang on. That's 14. That's 1 success. So that's 2 successes.
2 successes. So you will be able to take the transporter apart, get the logs, run the scan. And one of the things, of course, is that like the first test is to check Rainmundi's biosigns and confirm that the transporter can detect that. And then you will run the log across the rest of the crew. Starting from the bottom, working your way up to the top, checking.
This has to take time, though, doesn't it?
It does. And I think that just as that last one is coming in, that last confirmation is when the captain is probably eventually going to be calling you after we do the Vate scene to a meeting of the senior officers. There are no other Romulans on this ship.
Well, Ensign, do you believe it?
I believe it rules out what it says. It doesn't rule out that there's a co-conspirator. We're looking at we're trying to find who sent the message to Remundi, who we know is a Romulan. We've ruled out that there are no other Romulans on board. I take it we did pick up that the known Romulan is a Romulan. Yeah. So we've got two sort of test. We know that they should have reported true, so they have. So therefore, the only logical conclusion we can draw from this, Lieutenant Commander, is that Raimundi was in league with somebody else, non-Romulan.
You there?
Would you agree?
Lieutenant Vate.
Yeah. I think I'd like to speak to the lieutenant about this.
Lieutenant Tatassa?
Lieutenant Tatassa.
Sure.
Although, you know what, actually, I think what I want to do is speak to Haskell, Captain Haskell himself, if that's possible. Or he's about to go into that scene, though, isn't he? He's about to call upon Latar.
Essentially, you can catch him in his ready room, and he'll say, "Oh, Lieutenant Vate, I was just about to call the senior staff together to talk about the landing party and the mission and the prisoner exchange."
The doctor told you about Ramundi, didn't he, sir?
Yes, if I understand it, you and the others are looking into this. I trust in you to find out any other issues.
Well, we have a Romulan, at least one Romulan spy on board and an accomplice. And so I'm just wondering why we're not at red alert.
This prisoner exchange is very important. There are Federation officers that we are going to be getting back. Are you saying you think we ought to put that off? My fear right now is that we might lose that window and we might not ever get them back. But if you're telling me that we need to go to red alert and put that off, I'll enter that into the record.
To make sure I understand the command decision, sir. How well do you know Lieutenant Tatassa?
I wanted a Orion with some experience, some cultural training to be brought on to help us deal with the Orion prisoners.
How many Orions in Starfleet, sir?
No, not many.
And not many people who could have disabled the cameras during the exact 30-minute window where a coded message was sent to Ensign Ramundi. Unfortunately, Lieutenant Tatassa was running a sweep of the sensor scanners, taking out security monitoring.
You think Lieutenant Tatassa was involved with this?
She's our only suspect so far, sir.
Fine. Have one of your security officers detain her and confine her to quarters.
Well, luckily she's already detained in a room with two prisoners. Luckily, we've already got a room with two Orion prisoners. I guess I'll make it three. And I would like to try and get a read on Haskell. I use
Absolutely.
What is his feelings at the moment?
What do you want to roll that with?
I think that is insight.
Okay.
And probably security seems the most appropriate one. And I'm going to spend one from the momentum pool.
Okay.
And you're going to spend one from the threat pool, I see.
I'm going to spend two from the threat pool. Difficulty is a 4.
Ooh. Do I have a determination? Spent it last session, didn't I? Yeah.
Got 3d20.
Mm.
Do you think that one of your focuses applies to this?
More
Uh,
momentum. More momentum.
more
You can give me more
momentum.
threat.
Momentum.
You'd have to give me 2 threat.
You get more momentum. Yes, go
Nothing
for
is
it.
more important than saving lives.
Yeah, I'll go for that. Yeah.
Okay, so
But
I'll
that's about determination, I think. Alan, and I've already spent my determination.
yeah. So I'm taking the threat pool back up to 4. You've got
Uh-huh.
4d20.
Okay.
Difficulty is a 4.
I think espionage counts as a focus here.
I think it does.
Okay. So, so close. So close. It's 2 successes and then 2 off the 3rd success. So,
And he
yet.
looks up at you and he goes, Lieutenant Fate, don't try to get a read on me. I'll see you in the meeting room.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. I think maybe after I'd said something like, Lieutenant Tass is my only other suspect, other than the man who brought her on board, of course. And that's me. So don't try and provoke me to get a read.
He crosses his arms. The Pierce Brosnan kind of looks at you, tilts the head. Lieutenant Fate, don't try to get a read on me. I'll see you in the meeting room.
So, mechanics question: is there anything if you fail to meet a difficulty like with those 2 successes? So it's just
if there had been a complication, then that would be an effect. But missing by 2, there's no real sort of fail forward, except that you now know what the difficulty was, and that I spent threat.
I do, yeah. I can metagame it, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that there actually is a reasonable thing to read from, is that you know he's hiding something, but that's all you know.
I think that Vate will walk away and under his breath be saying like, either that's Section 31 mind conditioning or there's something more to Haskell than I realized.
Yeah, it might actually have been that. He might have some espionage experience. That's an interesting thing to know. Anyway, we're going to take a 10-minute break, and we're going to come back with Haskell meeting with everyone here, senior officers, to discuss the next stage of the operation. So I think we cut to the meeting room. Again, we established that rather than sort of the next gen sort of long table with the windows, it's actually kind of a windowless room, except there's a view screen for the stations in case they participate. And in fact, because they're astronavigators, there probably is one of them at the window. There's probably a little comms unit there for them to participate in this, but it's a round table that you're gathered around. And Haskell is saying, so let me go over this. When we arrive on planet, we're going to have 2 groups that we're going to be handling. Vate, you and your security team will be overseeing handing off our Klingon friend, the 2 Orions, and that woman, putting them into the hands of the authorities there on Fentarsen. While that is going on, Ensign Ward, I'd like you to accompany me, and we will be taking our Romulan friend and making the exchange. I'll let you pick 2 other people to go with us on that team if you have suggestions.
I have a question, sir.
Yes.
Our mission is the Romulan spy.
Our mission is the Romulan spy, yes.
And it is that handover that I would be much more worried about. Would it not be more prudent to bring Vate along to that, if that's where the action is?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Vade, are you comfortable with that about putting the security of the other four in someone else's hands?
Did you have Zenvost with them? Yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right. In that case, Ward, Vate, who else do you want, Ward?
I'll let Mr. Vate decide. He's the security officer. I think I'm happy with his judgment.
I think we have our concerns, Captain, about who should make up the team help escorting our prisoner 927 or whatever they're called. Sorry.
729, prisoner 729.
Got the right numbers, but the wrong order. There we go. Prisoner 729. It's going to have to be people that I've already vetted, I think. I'm going to suggest Ensign Fargo.
It's a good call. And you're probably here as the senior comms person, Farga. So are you all right with that, doing a landing away mission?
Certainly, Captain.
Absolutely. In that case, I still want a senior officer to oversee the delivery of the other prisoners. Commander Latal.
Yes, Carl, sir.
Yep. I was.
If there's one person on the ship, I'd prefer to be locked in a cell within the Klingon. No, I would least prefer to be locked in a cell within the Klingon. It's Latal.
I appreciate the observation, Lieutenant.
Lieutenant Commander Latal, there are two things. One, definitely we will have you oversee that end of the landing mission. Two, I want those transporters back up by the time we get in orbit. I don't want to take a shuttle down to the planet.
Why, sir?
Because I want to be able to get out of there in an instant if anything goes wrong.
I'll do my very best.
Don't worry, sir. I'll assist Lieutenant Commander Latal. We took apart the transporters. I'll make sure they go back together.
This is, when we get down there, we are going to be dealing with possibly Tal Shiar, Romulan agents, operatives. This is a delicate operation. And as I said before, when I first briefed us all on this, that the slightest thing could make this go wrong and we could lose those people. And there'll be that hail that comes from the bridge that will say, Captain, we received the transport buoy signal from Fentarson. We can begin our approach. And Haskell will say, Varga, back to the comms. Fate and Latal, I also want you on the bridge. Ensign Ward, you've done the planning on the transport down to do the pilot again. So you're going to have the helm.
Yes, sir.
And all of you will head from the meeting room. Again, we've described that it's like there's a captain's ready room and the meeting room are actually kind of walk downs from the bridge. So there is that kind of walk climbing up. And you will get up to that. And again, now we're closer to the planet. We see that shattered moons, those rocks spinning around in wild orbits. We see the purple flares that are of the weird gravity wells, and you can get the transmission. Tell me, Alan, what do the Fentarsons look like because we're going to get to see one of them on screen?
Okay, I think that I think we can afford in the FX not to just have people with funny looking brows. So I think I'd like them to be amoeboid.
Okay. Yes, they're sort of roiling to them as they speak. We've got that sort of welcome to Fantasen comes through the speakers, and we are transmitting the path. Do not deviate from the path. Stay on the path. The path is life. Come through on there, and you'll start to take the ship in. And that's when the explosion happens. You will feel it. You will see a flare, a flash as you're moving into the transport corridor, and it hits the ship. It is a shock wave of gravatics, and inertial dampeners go off for a moment as the entire ship is tossed and turned and begins to spin. And you'll hear we've got explosions on fires on decks 3, 6, and 8. Navigation controls are offline. Multiple breaches. Shields and sensors down. We've got explosions. Internal sensors are down. We've lost power in multiple sections. Donna, what do you do?
Well, I have the helm, so I am trying not to crash into a planet or something. So I will, not be worrying about the security bays or anything like that.
Absolutely.
And let's stay afloat.
So right now, you are working. Your task right now is to steady the ship that's spinning out of control. Like that's your first objective so that you can get it in control. I want to check around and see what everybody else is going to do while this is going on. You're a little bothered, Latal, because if you were down in engineering, you would be better able to deal with this situation. You have to deal with it from a secondary console. But what are you doing, Latal?
Damage control assessment and deploying damage control parties.
Okay. We'll come back to you in a second. Lieutenant Vate.
So we're still on our approach to the planet, right? We're not actually on these separate teams that we were talking about.
Oh no, you're in a catastrophic incident, falling into the gravity wells and gravatics that might potentially tear this ship apart.
Vate is going to pull his way over the consoles, stagger to the turbo lift, hit the button down to the brig.
Okay. Ensign Fargo, what do you want to do?
I would like to cut all comms on both the brig deck or the brig area and where we've got those 2 Orions. I want to white noise that out completely, stop all comms going in and out of those areas.
Absolutely. Let's go around and take those tasks in turn. Donna, this is a difficult task right now to get this ship righted. So difficulty 3. It's definitely a con task. What do you want as the attribute?
I mean,
Control certainly feels
right. Everything is chaotic. The spark. I mean, it's like the whoever installed this bridge didn't hear of a fuse box or anything like
right.
that. So holding my nerve while everything goes kablooey around me.
So it's 15/4. Because the ship systems are down, you're not getting the extra die from the ship. But it's difficulty 2. You've got 2d20. Do you have any talents that apply to this?
Helm operations, I guess.
Yeah, I think the focus. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think any talents apply. I'm not doing a second task because we have nothing in the momentum pool.
2d20.
2d20. So this is an 11.
So that is an 11. So that is one success. You are starting to get this righted, but there will be this moment when the gravity whelps grabs onto the nacelle, and there'll be a pulse that'll go through the ship, and Captain Haskell say, "Get this ship under control, Ensign Ward."
And I'll definitely spend that determination, right?
Okay.
Because I'm not going to let this rogue graviton field get the better of me.
Absolutely.
So I guess I'll keep the 11.
Okay.
Is it too late for me to notice that I have experienced officer advisor?
Which does?
When you assist another character using your command discipline, the character being assisted may reroll 1d20.
Now, you can do that, but then you're not going to get your action.
I appreciate that, but I did tell Ward that I would be there for her.
Perfect.
Ward, I'm channeling additional power to the aft thrusters.
Okay.
Okay.
So
let's.
Do you want to roll your help die and then give me a re-roll, and then I'll decide whether I do spend my determination? Is that
perfect.
The best way to do this? Okay.
Yeah. So I think that this is probably on the fly daring and engineering.
Okay, let's have you roll it.
Daring and engineering is 13. Power systems focus.
Sure.
That's a 7 and a 10, 2 successes.
2 successes. So right now we have 3 successes, and you can re-roll that 18.
Okay, so let me re-roll that 18. No, it's a 17. I mean, it's getting better, at least. But that is 3, right? So
that is 3 successes. So that is enough that you're leveling it out. The problem is, of course, now the buoy signals and stuff for your path in through this, they're offline. You're having to fly blind, down through this, trying to navigate that. But we'll come back to that. Lieutenant Lital, you're also with Ward, trying to get this settled. Even as the ship is being battered by that, but it is the inertial dampeners are back online, and you're flying down the tunnel of this gravatics and so on.
I'm going to move from the engineering console at the back of the bridge to the operations console.
Okay, we'll come back to you because let's take our other actions. Ensign Farga, you want to kind of work the comms and get that set. What do you want to roll that with?
Control. I'm not really sure what discipline. Comms.
Science or engineering?
Let's go with science.
Okay.
Okay, I'm pressing the wrong test button. That doesn't look good.
18.
That looked like 2 18s to me.
Okay. I think that as you go to grab onto the console, that's the point at which there is an explosion hits you in the face there.
Hit to the face.
And you're going to take 5 points of damage, 5 points of stress as you stagger back away from that explosion. You weren't able to block the comms, especially the comms signal that's scanning the ship right now. Lieutenant Vate, what you're rushing down to the brig?
Yeah.
All right.
And definitely the word you heard as the turbo lift door shut was like, well, I guess we're at red alert now.
Yeah, I think it is. Let me roll a d20 here. And let me roll the test. You're not going to let me roll the test. Whatever. Okay, so let me do this then. I just rolled. I've got a d6 right here. Okay, so rig, hit that level, drop down the shaft, come out. It'll be that whoosh, and you will see this security ensign go flying past you. And you will see in the hallway that Klingon there. And he has just thrown one of the security people. You can see he's taken some wounds, but he's still up. And when that whoosh opens, you see him turn and look at you, and he goes, Now we fight.
Today is a good day to die.
And he will come running at you.
Okay. I think I'm going to dive out of the way and phase him.
Okay. I'm going to let you take the first swing at him.
Yeah. So that is, I think, daring.
Yep. Daring and security.
Yeah. So that's 17. No momentum. I'm specifically not doing hand to hand. So yeah, it's one success.
One success is not quite enough to damage him. And you're firing a phaser, I assume.
Yes. Yeah. On skin.
So I think that the effect here is basically going to be that he gets up underneath your phaser and he grabs onto that hand and he squeezes. And you're going to take just 2 stress, but he has a hold of that hand, so he has kind of that phaser control, like he has that there.
Yeah.
I'm going to do another action from you before I kind of go back to the bigger scale actions.
Yeah. I think as we wrestle over that phaser, yeah, slamming against the wall, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's gonna fire off like a blast into a conduit, right? Sparks go everywhere, and at that point, I think I'm going to like use my because he's holding onto the hand, right, rather than the phaser.
Right.
I'm gonna let go as he bangs my hand against something, and the phaser's gonna go spinning off down the corridor, right? Like,
right.
And that's when I'm going to plant my feet on the wall, and I'm going to try and push him back into the turbo lift. Like as he's holding on to me, I'm going to twist around and try and flip him into the turbo lift.
So it'd normally be difficulty 1 for hand to hand, but I think because of the positioning bonus he got from last time, it's going to be difficulty 2. Do you have any? Is there any traits here that you think you can apply?
I have focus in hand to hand.
Perfect. So yeah, let's have you make that roll again, but with the focus.
Yeah, and the only way I can get extra momentum is by giving you more threat, isn't it? That's
unless you can tell me that there's a particular trait that's in play.
Oh, what you mean, like one of my values?
Well, so it probably doesn't apply right here, but like if you were in the security brig or something where you could claim I have a trait because this is my offices or something like that. So just remember, you can always kind of use that fate-like stuff too.
Is that an advantage or a trait?
That's a trait.
Okay.
It's an advantage, but a trait, there's the same thing. An advantage is a positive trait.
Yeah. Can I invoke then the rapid gravitational anomalies that are shifting the ship and throwing us all off balance?
Perfect. Back to difficulty 1.
Perfect. Cool. Then I will roll this. Let's hope. There we go. It didn't like. I don't think it liked me having a note. One of the notes open. Like I was clicking roll test and nothing was happening just because that had still been up. Just as a yeah. But yeah, I rolled an 8 and a 5, so that's a success.
So that's actually, I believe, 3 successes because your 5 is a focus. So let's have you go ahead and roll. Do you want to put that extra momentum into the pool or into doing another die of damage?
You can use momentum to do other things as well, can't you? Like combat? Yeah. Specifically, what I want to do is if I can use that extra momentum to say that I do the damage right, I throw him into the turbo lift, but like I'm not grappled to him anymore. That like I've flung him off me into the turbo lift, and I'm on the outside of the lift, and he's on the inside of the lift now.
Perfect. Roll me 5 challenge dice.
Cool. I can never read the challenge die.
Okay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points of damage plus effects. So what does it look like? Like you absolutely take control of this, even though he's a huge Klingon. What do we see happen?
Oh, I mean, he's and then just as this, I'm straining against him, and then as the ship staggers, right, like he slams into the wall, and I roll, flip, and then kick off the wall and slam him back into the turbo lift, and he stumbles backwards, cracks his head on the side, and as he staggers up, can I use the effect here to say that like he's stunned long enough for me to say,
Absolutely.
computer, lock down turbo lift 4, restricted access on my command.
And he looks up and he starts to shout, and it does that as the feel his fists pound into that.
And I say, I guess I was wrong. Today isn't a good day for either of us to die.
We'll come back to you in just a moment because there's more prisoners to consider. But let's come back to our Ensign Ward on that comms there. You got the con. You've kind of got the ship steadied. Now, like, do you want to try and pull back out? Do you want to try to finish the descent? What do you think?
I mean, I think obviously the signal buoys were the main accepted way, but we'd done our homework, right? To take it on kind of first.
You've got an advantage you already created for this. Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm going to stop struggling against the gravity and just kind of, swoop, if swoop is the right word.
Yeah. Feather in the wind. Feather in
exactly.
the gravity well. Okay. Yeah. So again, this would be difficulty 3, but you already worked on this. So this is difficulty 2.
Okay. So I guess it's the same task.
Yeah.
So what, 15-4? Okay.
Wow. The offer of advice is available.
2 17s is just not acceptable.
So Latal, go ahead and roll your assist die.
I think that now I'm working on this, right? So I think daring is replaced by reason as I try to work out the best way to allocate power to impulse drives to enhance Ward's ability. It becomes clear to me what Ward's trying to do, and therefore now I'm carefully trying to fine-tune the power supply to the right thrusters in order to help her do it. So I'm going to go with reason and engineering, and I'm going to invoke the focus power systems.
Okay, so roll 1d20.
There we go, 1d20. That is a 6. Damn.
No, not quite. One success, but because you assisted Donna, you get to re-roll one of those dice.
Okay, let's see. There's a 1.
So that is 3 successes. So what is it about like the two of you working together? Like what makes it click?
It's just like ballet. You'll see my hands moving up the panel as Ward is, twisting, and constant feedback.
Also, maybe, our odd configuration, right, in the Challenger class, maybe that suddenly clicks with us and we zig instead of zagging as we would in the normal configuration. And, the power gets in the right place finally, just clicks into place.
Absolutely. So the ship is riding, finding the path down. Ensign Farga, you've got trying to block the comms. It did not work, but you will also pick up that there's transporters activated on the ship.
I'm going to say I need to get to sick bay because I've taken quite a substantial wound, and I'm going to jump in the turbo lift.
Okay.
And attempt to go down to the brig level where I know Vate is.
So Captain Haskell, will shout for the next ensign to take your con as you go down there, and I think that when you go to the turbo lift, you hit a point. It says where the computer says unable to proceed.
I'll ask it to reroute.
Okay. It will say opening doors. Nearest accessible turbo lift is down the hall from here.
And I will hightail it at high speed.
So I think you will see this Orion pirate boarding party.
As I expected.
That are there, moving through the corridors, and they're clearly fighting their way towards where the two Orion prisoners are.
I will message Vate. Well, I'll comms him. Because comms didn't go down.
That's right.
Comms didn't go down. Vate, we've been boarded. Orion pirates. I knew something was up with the Orions. That's the source. Forget the psychopath and the Klingon. The Orions are the problem.
I'm willing to bet that whenever we cut back to Vate, that's what you're going to hear as he ducks under another fist or something, right? Like...
I think that I think that actually when we cut back, I think you hear, as you say, don't worry about the Klingons or the psychopath. And I think that's the point at which you turn around and you will see this woman standing down in the hallway, like about 10, 15 meters. And you see her go, Lieutenant Vate. And she holds up this crystal. And she goes,
your crystal.
Look what someone gave me.
And yeah,
I'll come back to you. I want to get Ensign Farga. Ensign Farga, what do you want to try? Are you going to try and do anything to stop these?
That's when the comm comes in from Ensign Farga, right? And then she holds up that thing, and I'm just going to go, I'm going to be busy, Farga. Take care of it.
I'm a comms officer, not a security officer.
What do you want to do?
How many we got?
It looks like you can see that there are 4 of them. They're trying to move quickly. You will see that they have a transporter. One of them has like a transporter buffer pack. They've got those on to make it easier. Like each of them has one of those things on their thing so they can easily, because this is a dangerous place to be transporting in and out of. And they've got one more of those boxes with them.
I mean, just mechanically, there is an option to deploy security. Vate should have done it, but he's busy.
We'll come back to Vate, but if you want to deploy security, do you want to try and do that?
No, I'm going to speak to him in Orion because I'm hopeful that I can actually natively speak Orion. I'm going to try and con them that that they should follow me into the turbo lift. I'm with, I'm going to say I'm a deep agent with, I'm a deep agent, and I know where Tamarick and Nivula are. Follow me.
All right. I think this is a difficulty 3 task.
I think it is quite difficult. Okay.
Would you like an extra die?
I will take an extra die.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll just you just do that. I'll just raise this threat pool number up to 3. You take that extra die.
It did go down at some stage, didn't it, Lowell?
I spent it to cause this havoc. Yes.
Yes, I thought you did. I did see it at 4, and then it suddenly went down to 2.
So yeah, let's what do you want to roll this with?
I think this is insight and languages.
Okay.
What would be the discipline for language? Sort of
Command.
I think insight, and I would say either command or security.
Let's go command.
Okay.
But I have linguistics.
Yeah, and that'll be a focus. So let me look at your thing. So right now, if that's 9 plus 2, so it's going to be an 11/2 with 3d20.
Oh, what could go wrong? Okay, let's roll. Yeah, well. Winner, winner, chickeny dinner.
So one of them says, you're the one who provided the information. Excellent. And they will come to follow you. They will say to you as they run up to kind of follow behind you, they will say, is the traitor Tamaric dead yet?
Of course. That was the first thing we dealt with.
Excellent.
He was under my knife quickly.
Good. Let us go. And they'll bundle into the turbo lift with you. I say that we thought we got the signal from this level.
Yes. But as you can see, there is a blocked turbo lift problem there. We need to reroute this one.
All right. And what do you do? Where do you take them? Do you take them down to the brig level? Do you take them somewhere else?
I don't want to take them to where they want to go. So to keep lots of players in play, let's take them back to the bridge.
Okay.
It's a silly place and nobody would do it. But if we go anywhere else, it will be boring.
Well, no, I mean, I was going to suggest the aquatic deck that we, like the flooded.
Yeah, no, we do have the aquatic deck, and I had forgot about that.
Yeah, the problem is the turbo lift doesn't really open quite like into that.
Oh, I know.
You just get smashed against the wall, sort of like I'm underwater. No, let's get lots of players in play here. Let's go back to the bridge.
Okay,
it's a silly place to go, and I understand that, but I want players to have play.
Absolutely. Lieutenant Vate, let's come to you, and then we'll come back up to what's going on the bridge.
Cool. Yeah.
You can feel like her power is significantly stronger now with that crystal in her hand.
Zambost, put that down.
Oh, okay.
Didn't work?
No.
No one ever wants to do things the easy way.
You can come with me. Go, we take a shuttle, you and I. Head out. I can show you what you can unlock with that blade.
And I pull it out, I think, in my hands, right? And I look at her and I say, there's so much to know here. So much of what was lost to the galaxy.
You only know, and she's walking towards you now. You only know the half of it. You say that it is an artifact of an old race. You know that much, but you don't know the rest.
And I think that's the point where I throw the dice at her.
Let's have you make that roll.
Aiming for the hand, right?
Okay. Absolutely.
Okay. So that is, I think, security and daring again.
Yep.
I don't think my focus has come into play here. I am going to take one from the momentum pool. No,
okay.
We've got some. You do not tell me the difficulty, do you, in this game?
Oh, no, difficulty 2, I think, to hit a small target.
Cool. Yeah, because I think the major thing is that I think I can definitely take it without the D20 in it.
Yeah, you mostly, the important thing is when you roll your damage, you want to roll an effect on it to knock it out of her hand there.
Okay. Well, that's 3 successes.
3 successes. So you've got 1 back into the momentum pool.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to roll your security and damage. So 5 challenge dice.
Two effects.
Two effects. So I think it hits that and it shatters the crystal and cuts into her hand, and she screams out, "No!" And she will turn to you with that last of that power, and she will let loose at you. Uh, you may make a psychic resistance roll to her desperately trying to blast you. I will roll her attack first.
We know that no had to come with a load of echo effect added onto it.
Absolutely. And we see like the air vibrates as she says it.
The lights overhead explode, even though it's Star Trek.
Absolutely. So I'll just roll and then I'll compare that to what we got. Did it roll for me? Okay. Here, let me just roll this here on my own dice. Since I bought these dice, two misses and a crit. So I've got two successes.
Okay. And to resist, I am rolling.
I think it's definitely going to be something in command.
Yeah, I think it's probably, if I'm perfectly honest with you, sounds like presence is the one to, yeah, is to be the resistance to a psychic attack in this sense, because it's happening very fast, right? Like
Absolutely.
Presence and command. Roll test. Just one success.
Just one success. So she will strike you with this force of psychic energy for 5 stress. And she knocks you down. And she goes running, like hand bleeding. That she ignores the knife on the ground. She just goes running desperately to get away.
Yeah, and obviously this is the point where we cut away, not knowing whether Vate is alive or dead, as he crumples against the wall with his eyes rolling back in his head and blood coming down.
Absolutely. So Ensign Farga, my assumption is that you give the bridge crew at least some kind of signal that this is about to happen.
I would like to tap out some sort of Morse to somebody on the bridge that incoming.
Okay. Latal, you've been doing the assist here, so I want to give you the opportunity on this one. Since Ward, you've been doing this, you're working with Ward, and you can see the turbo lift is coming up, and you will get like on the personal comms channel, you'll get a quick pulse signal that says incoming.
Yes. Now, if I invoke a value to my disadvantage, I could have an extra determination in the corner pocket, couldn't I?
Yes, you could.
Because stereotyping is easy but wastes potential. We Tellarites are known for focus and concentration. I ignore this meaningless message as unimportant in the current context.
What? And these 4 Orion pirates pour out onto the battle bridge. Captain Haskell will spin, draw phasers. One of them goes for you, Latal. You're one of the closest stations there. And it goes, not firing beam weapons. They don't want to do that on the bridge, but it goes at you with a knife.
Well, fitness and security, I think.
Okay. So roll to resist. I've got 2 successes.
And I roll 2d10 against goodness, 11.
Yep.
One success.
One success. Unless you want to spend a determination or re-roll the other die. And actually, I want to back up. Keep in mind that you can also spend determination before you roll, and I would allow you to do that to give yourself a 1, which would be a critical on one of the 20s. So,
then I will certainly spend that back down. Then.
In which case you'll have 3 successes, which means you put a momentum in a momentum pool. What do you do to knock aside this Orion pirate?
Headbutt him.
Staggers back away from that. Marks from your tusks on his cheek. He's bleeding there. Do you follow up? Are you attacking him? You shooting him?
No, I think I hit the security to the bridge. Security to the bridge.
Okay. Ensign Ward, what are you doing as this Orion pirate goes rushing at where you're at?
I mean, I'm bracing for impact,
Okay.
trying to retain control as we teeter, whatever the right distance is, kilometers from certain doom.
You still get to roll a dodge. It's I've got 2 successes on you.
Okay.
There's 3 momentum in the momentum pool.
Did we say?
Yep. It'd be fitness plus security.
Yeah. Let me 2 successes, you say. Let me take 1 from the momentum pool.
Okay.
And get a third die rather. Okay. So that is 1, a 5.
1 is a 5, so they will strike you. So you are going to take 5 points of damage.
Ouch.
As this Orion strikes you. Ensign Farraga, one's up there by Latal. Another one's over there by Ward, who's concentrating on getting this piloted. There's another one who's gone for the replacement comms officer, and their leader who's leapt over the unit and is engaged like in hand-to-hand with Haskell.
Do I have a determination point?
Yeah.
Excellent. Sort of standing at the back of the turbo lift, they're all in front of me. I would really like to crunch my leg into the back of, crunch my foot into the back of one of these guys' legs,
Okay.
send him down.
So that is daring plus security.
So if I spend the determination, that gives me an instant.
It gives you an extra die that gives you 2 successes, and then you still get to roll your 2d20.
Okay, so fitness and security. I'm not very good at this. In fact, 9. Oh, that's not too bad. 15 and 3.
So you will have 3 successes versus 1 success. Ooh, that's a complication for them. So what's your security rating?
1.
1. So assuming that you spend that momentum,
Yep.
you're going to be rolling with 4 dice of the challenge dice.
It sort of tops out at 3 when I hit the plus button.
Shouldn't it should go up to 4? Try it again.
No, the plus doesn't ever add anything past 3 on my screen. Let me maximize the screen. Maybe that's the problem. Yeah, that's better.
That a maximization problem?
A maximization problem. Well, I don't really know what that's rolled.
So jokers are worth 2 damage plus effect. So you do 5 points of damage. So I think like your leg cocks out and you will cripple this guy. Which one are you attacking? Do you think you're attacking the one that was on the captain, the one that was on the other comms officer, the one that's on Latal?
Well, team comms.
Okay, so you will drop the comms officer there, and we will. Ward, you've got 1 more roll to get clear of this gravatics. You're bleeding from this. You've got an injury now because you took that much damage, and you're trying to keep yourself in control here.
Does the injury have any effect on my
It
dice pool?
increases your difficulty.
Okay,
So your
excellent.
difficulty, which was a 3, taken down 1 by your prep work, but now back up to 3.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take something from the momentum pool for this.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, we're all on this ship.
Yes.
So yeah, let me roll that, and that is 4 successes.
4 successes. So what does it look like? Like you do this brilliantly. What does that look like?
I mean, I think maybe in retrospect, what's most impressive is that I have blood pouring out of my scalp over my eye. I'm effectively blind at this stage, but I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. And um, I think I use one of these uh, erupting graphitic fields as like a slingshot to get back into orbit.
Nice. Lieutenant Vate, there's that moment where you blacked out, and then someone's shaking you awake. You open your eyes, and you will see standing over you is prisoner 729. Are you all right?
Pull myself up, yeah. 729.
The fields went down as the ship kind of shakes again.
Yeah. And you thought you'd stick around?
You're the only thing getting me back to Romulus.
What about our ensign, Romulan spy? Went by the name of Raymundi, but I'm sure you might know him, might know his real one.
What about him? I haven't heard from him.
Well, he's dead.
And like, there's that moment of surprise and shock you'll feel with your empathy. And then he's like, that wasn't me.
No, but you knew he was here.
We always have a backup plan.
Great. Well, ship shakes. I guess this isn't the Romulans then.
It's not the Romulans.
Do you know who was your other person? Who was your other man on the ship? Someone sent a coded message.
The only person I had on the ship was Raymundi. There's someone else trying to sabotage this mission.
And I just didn't believe it could be two groups of spies.
And he says, you should probably figure out. And you see him pause, who gave her that crystal.
Yeah. And glance up the corridor. Computer, give me the logs on on who accessed the brig in the last, on all the names of the last officers to enter the brig.
And it will give you the crew rota. But of course, there is that one thing, and something that was mentioned to you before, is that the only other person who was down there was Captain Haskell. Remember, he went down to check the brigs to make sure everything was okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's it. As I flick up through it, and I see, Ward, etc. Haskell.
Meanwhile, back up on the bridge, Latal, one of these Orion is down. The other 3 are up. One is fighting the captain. Yours is wounded. One is over Ward and has stabbed Ward, even as Ward is piloting you brilliantly through this field. Ensign Faraga, just absolutely expertly with a powerful kick, took one of them down.
I'll help Haskell.
Okay, let's have you roll that.
Fitness plus security. Any advantage that I'm coming at someone already engaged?
I would say yes, except you've still got the one that you just wounded that isn't down. So I think that
Oh,
kind of
right.
ameliorates that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So yeah, fitness plus security is a mere 11.
Right. The difficulty to hit him is 1 because he is engaged with another foe, so he can't dodge your attack.
That's a 13 and a 3.
So that's 2 successes, is that?
No, that's just the one.
Just the 1 success. So what is your security rating?
2. Not enough.
Roll me 2d6.
Oh, I see. Yes. Oops. Hang on. 2 jokers.
2 jokers. So that is 4 points of damage. Oh no, 2 points of damage. But in effect, what is the effect you want for that?
I want to surprise him enough that Haskell can subdue him.
Okay. I think there is that. Like you kind of pull him back, and I think Haskell, raises up the hands and does the Kirk slam down with the fists to knock this Orion unconscious.
And there is a moment when Haskell and my eyes meet, and then I turn away.
Okay. And Ensign Ward, you've gotten the ship through safely. But there's still these people up here. There's still 2 of them up and moving around.
Any sign of security yet?
Okay. The problem is that the sensors are down. There's explosions all over the ship. No one did damage control, so it's taking people a while to get up here.
Yeah, I mean, apart from common sense, what's to prevent me from just drawing a phaser and shooting one of them?
Nothing.
Nothing.
People fire phasers on the bridge all the time.
Yeah, so I see. So yeah, I'll keep one hand on the controls, draw the phaser with the other, and point across.
Okay.
To
daring plus security.
Okay. 2 successes.
2 successes. So that will hit. Your security is what?
2.
Plus 2 for the phaser, so roll me 4 dice.
Okay. 2 jokers.
2 jokers. So you'll hit this one. It's penetrating with the effect, so I think you will kind of lift up. He's stunned. Because I assume we would have done it on stun.
Yeah.
Drops to the ground. Ensign Farga.
Let's go Team Comms. The one that was on Latal.
Yeah.
That Latal just sort of left to wander about. I'm going to charge them.
Okay. Let's have you roll. Let's see how well you do this. Get them before they can take that swing at Latal. What?
Fitness and security?
Daring plus security.
Okay. It's 10. So I've got 1, 2, and 1, 13.
Okay. So you will knock him down. He's already wounded from Latal's hit. You go crashing into him and smash him to the ground, even as the ship settles gently into orbit. Let's take our second break.
I will pull one of those. Yes.
Yes. Let's take our second break and we'll come back. 5, yes. So I think we come in kind of, we're here in the aftermath. The 2 Orions that were in their rooms have been brought to Brig to be held there. The other Orions have been put in there as well. The Romulan, who has demonstrated no desire to escape, is given slightly better quarters by Vate. And the Klingon is eventually transported back to the brig. But I have spent my 2 threat pool. And if you don't mind, I would like there to be a missing shuttlecraft.
100%. I want Zambos to escape.
Okay.
Like 100%.
Returning Nemesis just created.
Yeah. And I think we come to like in the aftermath, Captain Haskell has called, according to, again, the senior staff, met. We were actually probably in sick bay, like everybody's gathered there, people who've taken wounds and things like that. And Captain Haskell said, "That was well done, everyone. This attack certainly indicates perfidy, treachery on the part of the Romulans. I don't think we can carry through this prisoner exchange."
Why not, Captain?
I think if they're willing to do this much to stop it, no, going down to the planet represents a clear and present danger for all of us involved.
But if I understand you correctly, there are Starfleet officers down there. Are you prepared to sacrifice them because of the potential threat caused by some Orions which we have successfully overpowered?
He stepped forward. He says, "I am not prepared to put at risk other good officers," puts his hand on your shoulder, like yourself.
Except when it's going to benefit you, right, Haskell? You've been undermining this mission from the start. You had the chance at another Orion who would have recognized and understood the threat that was posed by having this prisoner on board. You knew that the Orions that somebody was going to try something, and you helped Zemvost escape.
These are strong accusations, Lieutenant Vate. Do you have any proof?
I have the computer logs from the thing. Is there any other proof I could get? That's a great question, isn't it?
What price a flashback?
That's interesting. To do what?
Well, because I'm wondering, we know that his first officer is down there, and he's been very keen to get her back until we're about to get her back. And so I like to have looked up the circumstances of the loss of said first officer.
I do have it did create that advantage of the Star Trek intelligence officer sort of and my understanding of that advantage is therefore available to be used throughout the adventure.
Absolutely. Alan, if you want to spend the 2 momentum from the pool, plus the advantage that Lieutenant Vate came, let's do this. Lieutenant Vate, you have the logs from the brig. It's circumstantial, but it certainly points and looks badly. Ensign Fargo, what else do we think we have that possibly implicates?
Could I dig up some comms, looking specifically at the captain's comms? What's gone up from his station?
I think you will find that blip that was sent to the Romulan spy was an older Romulan code that would have been active during the time that Captain Haskell was operating intelligence operations against the Romulans. Latal, what is it that you want to find? What is the
smoking gun?
Pardon?
The smoking gun.
Yeah.
I think the smoking gun that I'm looking for is evidence that the kind of behavior that certainly I and Ward know Haskell is capable of, his bending of the rules, did happen, and his first officer is the only person likely to know about it.
Yeah. There's a sense that you get from the intelligence that was given by Vate's friend, by everything, that it may well be now that Haskell actually got that first officer captured. And there'll be that moment when you kind of bring that out, you bring all this evidence out, and he will turn to you, Ward. Certainly, you don't believe this is true. You can speak for me. You have before.
So you can't explain it. Is that what you're saying, Captain Haskell?
Help me out here, Ensign. Number one.
I will. I will. Why don't you remove your comms badge and you'll be escorted to the brig or your quarters, whichever you prefer.
He'll put the badge on the counter.
I'd like to press the comms and say, security to the captain's ready room.
Well, Lieutenant Vader's already here. I was just going to give him a direct order.
Right. I think it's more fun to have the the guard show up, you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'll say, Mr. Haskell, you're relieved of command.
Good work, Captain. With a wink.
I believe that under Starfleet Regulation 839.2, this means that brevet promotions made by said captain are now void. Return to helm, would you, Ensign?
Yes, sir.
And I would like to, I think we see in montage the exchange of the Romulan prisoner for a few of these Starfleet officers looking bedraggled, including one who will both has worked with both Latal and Ward and will grasp your arms and clearly give you a thanks. The Klingons and the Orions are deposited here on the transport. The Romulan will look at you, Lieutenant Vate, and clearly says something like, "I hope we meet again."
Yeah. And I say something like, I look forward to seeing your new face.
As do I. I'd like to do like a end scene with Vate and Farga, like in the aftermath of this. Farga, where do you want to have a scene with Vate?
I think it will be. Do we have a holodeck?
Yeah, of course you have a holodeck.
Let's go for a romantic meal on the Eiffel Tower.
Nice. Like Art Deco era, right? Like kind of not modern day, like today or whenever, right? But like the height of the French kind of, stylishness.
A lovely French meal. I hope the food isn't hollow. Is it? I don't know on a holodeck. Is the food hollow?
They replicate the food into there.
Yeah. But Fargo will have changed, will be in a very nice flowing sheer gown, which doesn't really suit her image, but it definitely suits her personality.
Yeah, and Vate is in, a dapper suit and, stylish as looking a little like a bohemian sort of like well-to-do, well-heeled person of the time. And, looking out across it, say, so Fargo, you ever considered transferring to security? I saw the footage of that kick and
I think I was just a bit lucky.
Well, that makes two of us.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then I'd like to do a scene with Ward and Latal, kind of, in the aftermath as the ship has left the prison planet and is heading on. Ward, where should we have this scene?
I think probably at the graveyard. I think I'm talking to a Tellarite barman,
It seems like you have some issues. Do you want to talk about it?
Just make it a double.
As you wish. And then you'll hear the hollow bartender say, Lieutenant Commander Lital, come, sit. There's an open chair here.
Take the chair. So, Ensign, what a very interesting trip this turned out to be.
Interesting is putting it one way, yeah.
What do you think you've learned, Ensign?
Where do I start? I think it'll be a few years before I get my own starship, or close to it. Probably rightly.
Why do you say rightly?
Well, I feel relatively relaxed for the first time in, the week it's been. So yeah. Plus, people have stopped looking at me like I'm, I don't know, wrong.
Tell me you didn't enjoy some of it, though.
I mean, apart from not being able to trust my captain.
That's not about the position, Ensign. That's about judgment. And on this occasion, you made the right judgment at the right time.
This time.
And we can pick up the rest of that at your formal review tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Good night.
Another double?
I mean, poured on top of the previous one.
And I think that's our episode. That's our mission. That's where we're going to wrap there. We will do next time, just because we're doing a short run series, and I do want to get a chance to do this. We will do an arc milestone, I think, for everybody, because we got some interesting story stuff from people. That'll give you a chance to add one to an attribute or a discipline. You could add another focus. You could take another talent as well. You can do some swap arounds in addition to that. So we will talk about that then, and we will have Pavel in for our next session. I'll try to talk to him this week to get his character settled out, so we can have that in hand, and then we'll have you back in 3 weeks, right, Paul?
Yes.
Assuming everything goes okay. If it doesn't,
the
next two, and then back. Yeah. Okay. I would like to do stars and wishes, so we can talk about things we liked and about things we want to see more of. Paul, can I put you in the hot seat first?
Yeah, sure. Big thanks to Will leaning into a romance scene there. I don't very often do them, so that was very good. I can't hear you, Will. You're just mind-blowing me. Donna, your nervousness, I think that was played really, really well. I hope it was played really, really well. Yeah, that was good to see, and some really good stuff. Alan from the sidelines coming in, I think that really helped me make a few decisions, and just really leaning in with the team play skill that your character had. It'd been easy just to go off and not sort of use that, but it was nice to see that coming into play. So, and good RP. And Lowell, probably quite a hard scenario to run, really, because we could have probably have stumbled around for ages. So I think the way you paced it into this session was, again, a demonstration of awesomeness. So always nice to see.
Awesome. Anything you want to put on the table generally, stars wise or wishes wise, rather?
No. I think the quick characters is actually probably the thing that really makes this game, to a huge degree. So yeah, more chance to use quick characters.
Okay. Donna.
Yeah. To add to Paul's stars, I mean the Latal Vate comedy duo from the start of the session was great. Um, uh, Latal was obviously running out of patience. You know, people giving him extra jobs to do or extra pieces of information to incorporate. You know, not a strong suit. um, Nice to see our security officer getting into a fight, and the surprising package that is Ensign Varga, um, all around. And yeah, I guess it was maybe a change from our initial establishment, but you know, I forgot that pretty quickly with your people. It was great to see. And lots of juggling, even more than usual, I think. So yeah, lots of smash cuts to help move things along.
Anything wishes wise?
Um, I guess I have a bunch of abilities and talents that I have gone nowhere near.
Okay.
So maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
But
no, that's
also,
a good point.
yeah.
I'll try and look through and see which one of those, and maybe we can talk if there's some of them we might want to swap out. We can do that conversation as well at the start of the next session.
Yeah, sure. But also, Paul's point on the pickup characters is well made. So
yeah, I never would have expected that, quite honestly. I've been really pleased at how well that has come across.
Maybe we can have a bottle episode where we all play secondary characters. You know?
I love it. Alan.
Yeah, stars. I mean, the setup from the previous session, you had an awful lot of plates in motion. And I seem to remember at the end of that saying, I look forward to which ones you choose to use. And in fact, you used them all. We had the the climactic triangle that is Haskell, Lital, Ward. We had prisoners escaping. We had a psychopath. We had with telepathic battles. We had Gravit, being sucked into these things which could be black holes. No, it was all it was, so principal star, I think, to you for managing to keep all those plates useful. So nothing from the setup episode went to waste. And I think also it was nice because until that closing scene, I don't think we were entirely clear who done what and why. But you had given us all the pieces to put it together. So and that kind of investigation setup without an investigation mechanic is very good. And individual, yeah, Paul, nice to see you back and playing against type, I have to say. Flirty android woman. Not one I'd have normally associated you with. Thank you, Donna, for playing into Lital's rudeness, which is the same for Vate, really. And if it feels like I'm getting too rude, please do just tell me, because it's him being rude to them, not me being rude to you. But it just do let me know if I'm laying that on too thick. In terms of wishes, well, in the absence of the captain and with our acting captain in the brig, I think command devolves to the next most senior officer, doesn't it?
It will either devolve into that, or we'll have a guest, a stunt casting guest captain of a very different temperament.
Just saying.
And we'll see what Pavel wants to do too. Like that may also shape things.
This will play into Lital's chip on his shoulder because
yes.
Every time the chance that the chair crops up, the transporter pings.
My nephew's a very good pilot. I think I'll have him. And Will.
Yeah, I really loved the two sessions. I do really enjoy Latal being exceptionally rude all the time and brusque. It's great. Yeah, I really enjoyed the quick character Farga. I really enjoyed seeing Paul do a romance scene with somebody. I mean, like, wow, in an RPG. But that was perfect because it was like the cheesy kind of like, and I loved that we brought the holodeck in and all of that. And I loved all the spy stuff, Lowell, and the ship, and like the ship just rocking around. And a big star to everyone for rocking their screens around.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, Also, a star for helping us with the rules. I do struggle to remember like what momentum can be spent on, how much that costs, those interplays between the things, right?
Mm-hmm.
It does all make sense. I think I just lose track of it from week to
Oh
week.
yeah, no, I get that.
I think I probably wouldn't if I wasn't playing other games. Maybe it's that mental space, it sort of takes it out. But yeah.
There are certain games that I have a real block on. Like I have learned Cortex
Mm.
5 separate times. And each time I learn it, I'm like, okay, now I got it. And I walk away and I'm like, I have no idea how that game works. I have now completely forgotten. I couldn't tell you anything about that. I've done that with the Marvel version, with the Leverage version, with other ones. So yeah, I get that 100%.
Yeah, it's just because every time I come to look at the CDs, I'm just like, what happens here again? you know. But yeah, a big star for doing that with us and keeping the pace while still doing that. Um, Wishes wise, a big star to helping us do the shocking truth thing at the end about Pascal, and maybe it's just because I had just played Passions that I thought, well, I can just do the accusation
Oh
there and then.
yeah.
But it was also a case of like, well, we're not going to go down to get the people. How do I change that if he's the captain? And I thought, well, it's accuse them of the shocking truth, right? And then when it was like, what evidence do you have? I'm like, very little, very little fictional evidence, like dramatic
Mm-hmm.
evidence. Thing.
It was the equivalent of Poirot in the drawing room.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It occurred to me that the other solution to that would have been if I'd jumped to that, if I'd come to that conclusion earlier, and if I'd stolen a shuttle with 729 and made the exchange myself, right, we would have shot. But
Oh,
I guess,
interesting.
yeah, because I get one of my wishes would be to have like a follow up line in the next episode, which like establishes why Haskell wanted to keep his first officer down there, because ultimately the only thing that we do actually know is that he helped Zenvos escape.
Right.
And that he didn't want to pick up his. So we know that he's guilty dramatically. We just haven't had the actual exposition yet.
That's good. Yeah, yeah. We should definitely do that next time. I think other wishes I would like to. We should also get the fate of Lieutenant Tatasa established
Hmm.
on screen too, because she
Yeah.
was clearly, as you guys realized early on, she was clearly a pawn that was going to get all this Orion stuff pinned on.
I mean, hey, I'm happy to have our ship just become filled with these characters.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, my wish is though for like the general thing in the series because like you've managed to deliver perfectly on like the wishes for Star Trek episode storylines, and like all those elements and everything, right? Um, Something to do with a natural scientific phenomena, or you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
the natural disaster or whatever, right? Like some big sci-fi kind of like cosmic event kind of stuff. And I was I see what Donna means about his focuses for Ward.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's inevitable given that we're avoiding starship
Yeah.
combat, right? Because that's
Yeah. I
they're
do
all about
think. I think we've got one more mission, and then we have to do a mission with a spaceship fight of some form. I like I know that that's the thing. Like we're doing 2 sessions for a mission. We can do that, and then we've definitely got to have a session that has a big star battle.
like starship for navigation, except they're all flying the ship. The ship's probably around in big space journeys as opposed to Yeah,
Yeah.
Lowell, are you working out how to cut down the starship combat? Because I have
I'm
to say, I
still
started making notes.
I'm still thinking about it. I think there is a way. I've looked at some of the fate stuff you got, but I think there is a way to do it in a nice, like, way that uses the tools we already have without going overboard. And so that's what I'm looking at and thinking. So, but I've got a couple weeks on that still.
Once you got the shields down, you just you teleport aboard, and
Yes.
it goes back to the other type of play.
Thank you all very much. I am going to stop the recording.